optimizing it.
Really, a business card is a supporting. It's your supporting cast.
Sure.
Because you have to be one memorable to a person so that they would want to be remembered. That's their window into their conversation with you when you give them that. It's like, hey, here's my business card. Okay, I look at it now. I remember my conversation with Hunter, and then boom, I'll act on that. It's not like the be all end all. It's your supporting cast.
Yeah.
So
Right.
here's a fun question. What do you mean by that? What do you mean you're going to act on that?
Like actually, like engage. Oh God, I should.
Yes.
Because like, let's say I'm an affiliate. I'm a new streamer. I have 5 viewers. I go to TwitchCon. I'm trying to meet people. I give them my business card. What's the end game? What am I hoping should happen? Like you're a pretty relevant streamer. If I give you my business card and I play one video game and I'm not even good at it, what do you care? Like, what's going to happen? How do I make you care, and how do I make you want to engage? And then what does that engagement mean?
Wouldn't that be part of the networking though? Isn't that like kind of like, again, the business card being that sort of like supporting role that, hey, we had a good interaction. Here's a way to remember me by.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
usually
And then
yeah, I feel like usually the follow up is then like following them on Twitter, and you've made a friend and a connection, and you engage with them every now and then, and maybe your interests line up in a way that you guys can do something together.
I mean, actually, like what I've been doing a lot, when people have been doing with me a lot, is that if I'm always like, oh crap, I forgot my business cards, because I just don't like carrying anything on my person. So, we'll ask each other, hey, what's your Twitter? And then you immediately get the follow up there. You don't have to depend on them looking at something later. So that kind of all ties into how you actually converse and network with people. You want that interaction to either be instant or 1 or 2 steps. And I think business cards,
Yes.
the way people do business cards, really complicates that process.
So
Yeah.
I did not the opposite. I did a similar route, but without a business card. When
Hmm.
I was starting to grow and I needed to start making connections and get out of the small niche that I had built, I went to cons and I looked for people I knew. I looked for people that I knew from Twitter who I was a fan of, whose streams I would watch, whose YouTube videos I would watch, and I would get a picture with them, and then I would tweet it at them saying like, hey, it was cool to meet you. That's the fastest way to get my attention too, because if you hand me a business card, that just sounds like you want money. I equate business cards to business, and business
Yes.
makes money. I don't
100%.
I just want to meet people.
Yeah.
I definitely think
I
that's
handed
helpful.
a card to somebody this weekend, and they were like, oh, you want codes? And I was like, that was like the first thing that came out of the mouth. And I was like, no. I'm like, I want a relationship. Like, do you who are you? What can we do? I appreciate this thing that I'm seeing, and I'm trying to let you know that. And we carry the conversation on beyond that. But these are people who are receiving tons of them, right? And so the expectation becomes standardized. And so I want to further this conversation a little bit more, because that's one of the more critical parts of any convention, but also particularly TwitchCon, is how the networking works in a way that's effective, but also actually relevant and genuine and authentic,
Organic,
and organic, or at least semi-organic, because it has to be kind of structured, right? Because we're at a convention in the first place, so we're already like putting the effort out there to do the thing and bring our expectations. But how does that really work sort of optimally? And do different people who have different needs have to treat it differently? How do you approach people with it and like not only follow up, but also introduce yourself as a person who's also a brand, right? That complicated
that's the elevator pitch.
hybrid.
If I ask, who are you? You should be able to answer that in 2 sentences. Like, who are this is me. This is what I stream. This is how good or how funny or blank that I do on my stream. Boom, done. And your elevator pitch has to be interesting and different than other people. If it's I'm platinum in League of Legends, I'm bored of you. Like that's not a personality, and that's not even good. Like platinum's not good.
One thing I do want to say about the business cards is something that I made a tweet the other day, kind of asking to see people's business cards.
That was interesting.
And one thing I saw was that was really cool is people are putting like a picture of themselves on the business card, which I find to be super helpful. Because I still like business cards, because I very rarely will add people on Twitter on the spot, because I just don't want to like waste my phone battery. So like I like reviewing at the end of the trip, usually like at the airport or on the airplane. I'll go through everyone's business cards and trying to recall like the conversations I had, and then like start like adding people on Twitter from there.
When did you tweet that?
Last week.
5 days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago.
Did you delete
7-ish?
Did I delete it? No.
Oh, I'm trying to find it because I think that's really interesting and I want to see the responses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a lot of interesting ones. There's a lot of people that do like weird shapes and designs and stuff, which I am personally not a fan of because I know a lot of people, if it's not the standard size, they'll throw them out instantly.
Yeah. Well, where do I put it, right? So like I have
Those
a few places where I put the I mean, and they're cute and they work in a certain way, but it's almost like I want to defeat your innovative idea because I just want simplicity. I just want them all to go in the same place and be the same shape.
It's too clever. It's just a bit too clever. It's like, hey, thank you for trying, but this isn't gonna work. But yeah, it's really hard to kind of talk about this kind of stuff because we all kind of process that information differently.
Right.
You defer that to later, whereas if I don't remember, I'll forget. If I don't do it right now, I'll forget.
I literally write on the business cards, and one thing that I wish that I did was do the whole thing, and there are a bunch of apps that allow you to do this. So like using Evernote is one that I like.
Yeah.
Take a picture, put a quick note in there, and I've seen some people do this with me, which I loved. They took a picture with me, added my business card and the picture and a note. And I'm like, you are next level networking. Like they're going to remember every single aspect of that interaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they sort back through it after the fact. They've got a little bit of notes, who I was, how much, rating their experience with me. Please give me 5 stars. That kind of a thing. It's interesting.
We're Uber now.
I know.
That might not be a good thing.
No.
Being Ubers.
Well, it depends. I mean, if it's internal, like however you want to remember people's information is, like, especially if you are bad with names or you just meet so many people, like I
smelled fantastic.
I think that more like kind of goes, we talk about always how I think usually these conversations go about how do you give out your business card.
Yeah.
I think it's equally important to like, make sure you realize how you take this information and kind of like, embrace the way you do that. That's why I embrace kind of like, hey, let me, I'll give you my phone. Like, please look for your, your username on Twitch so I can follow, so, I can throw you a follow. Whereas other people are like, what I used to do, South by Southwest or whatever is just have that stack of business cards that I go through. But, it all depends. And if you expect yourself to act one way, then just make sure to optimize that for, so that you'll actually act on these things, because people are kind of by giving away your business card, you're kind of depending on that person to eventually act on it, especially if you had a good interaction with them.
Yeah. And I think one thing to realize, and this kind of goes into the networking aspect, is don't just walk up and hand someone a business card. Like a business card should be given at the end of an interaction, not like just as a like, here you go, like handing it out kind of like candy.
Some people take that shotgun approach, right? Where it's like just blast out as many cards as they can to just as many people and something's bound to stick, right?
That may have worked at the first TwitchCon. It's not going to work anymore.
Right, it doesn't, yeah. At this point, looking at the numbers by themselves, it's,
I was in line to get into TwitchCon last year, and there was a streamer holding the door open, and as people were passing, they were just handing their business card out. I was like, I don't want your business card. Like, what is this? This is not how this works.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it equates to...
Go away, but I think it's a good idea.
It's not too far from going into every single stream and posting your link.
Yeah.
You haven't...
That's different.
But only marginally. So like abstracting that out a little bit, it is just trying to get your name out as much as possible without giving any relevant information. Like you haven't given me any reason to care about your stream. Likewise with
they've done the
handing
opposite.
out your card.